Your makeup is gonna continue looking like this, and this until you watch this video. Just because you have a dry skin does not mean you cannot have a dewy makeup. It is all in the skin prep. First, you give your skin a very good wash. Now, if you suffer from comedones like whiteheads, blackheads, like I do around my T-zone area, you want to double cleanse. Now, if you don't take your face cleanse seriously and then you go ahead to do your makeup ends up looking like you're painting over an unplastered wall. Now, you get what I mean. Now, I'm starting off with this light cleansing oil. All I need is just 2 pumps. Now, you want to go ahead to massage it into your skin. And if you're like me, who doesn't double cleanse as regularly as I should, you want to try and do this for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes. In short, just do it the same time it takes you to watch a Ray Williams video.
So this woman, her name's Anne, and Anne has a problem.
I usually focus on my problem areas around my T-zone, as I mentioned. I keep on massaging it until I feel like the whiteheads are starting to come out. My skin is going through a lot this period, so yeah. Once you're done, you want to wet your hands and then go ahead to massage it. Ow! Then I go ahead to rinse this off. Once you're done with that, you go in with a face wash. I'm using the Centella Ampoule foam. Once you're done, you wash that off as well. So I'm done washing my face. So sometimes I notice that the whiteheads don't necessarily come out fully, so I might have to press them out. And yeah. So next I go in with a moisturizing toner. This one is by TTM Milk Skin Toner. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but it's quite on the eye side and then it comes really small for the smaller size. So I would, if you can't afford that, I would say you go in with the Wonder Ceramide Mochi Toner. Now this, you get a lot of products for the price, but then you would have noticed that a lot of these things are near empty.
I'm broke.
Yeah, I'm going through a lot. So typically you're supposed to use cotton pads to wipe it up on your face, but I mean, what happened to my hands? Wait.
Yeah.
This container is deceiving. I thought there was still something inside. Jesus.
I am completely broke.
So I dab this into my skin. And it brings back the moisture that I just stripped out. So next I go in with the Niacinamide serum. So typically my skincare routine is more of an hyperpigmentation correction type. But I realized that this serum not only serves as an hyperpigmentation correcting serum, but it's also hydrating and moisturizing. So I take a dropper on my hands. So next I go in with an eye serum. Now this area needs to be super hydrated for the concealer. So I use the Revive Eye Cream by Beauty of, I don't know how to pronounce it, Jusong, I think. It's a really nice serum, but it's also on the higher side. If you want to go with something cheaper, you might want to use the Mary and May. So I got the Mary and May for hyperpigmentation, but then I realized I wasn't necessarily doing anything. So now it's become a moisturizer. This is more thicker, while this is more lightweight. I just take a little size. Now it depends on the type of makeup I want to rock. If I want it to look a little more radiant, then I would go in with the vitamin C serum. by Naturium. This serum makes you glow, but it's expensive, so I sparingly use it. That's why I'm not using it now. So you can use that, or you move on to the advanced Snail 96 Mucin Power Essence. Now this as well gives you a lot of hydration. I go in with a lot. So I let it sit on my face for a couple minutes. Lastly, I go in with a moisturizer. I use a Tone Brightening Capsule Cream by Centella. Now, this is expensive, and if you look at it, you see that it's almost finished. So yeah, you can, if you're going through life like I am, you can replace it with the replenishing rich moisturizer by Simple. God, everything cannot be finishing. And that's how I prep my skin for makeup. So if you want to do your makeup on a dry skin, you have no business being in a room that has AC on full blast or that the fan is on high speed. Because no matter how good the skincare routine is, I feel like it still gets you dried out easily. So you want to be in somewhere that is warm, on low speed, the fan is on low speed and the environment is cool. I know people use a primer, but I haven't yet found the right primer. So we're going on to foundation. So I'm starting off with this Zikel Eye Definition Foundation. Having a dry skin, you shouldn't be using mattifying product. But this kind of says it's pro matte, but I don't think it mattifies your face. So this is in shade Sexy Almond. So I'll be going with 2 little pumps on my face. You really don't need that much. Ooh, my hair. So I'll be going in with a flat brush to spread it. Now when you're spreading it, you want to focus on the lower part of your face only and try not to put the makeup in your eye area. Then I'll use very little product to my forehead, and the reason is being that my forehead dries up a lot, so I don't like stacking a lot of products there. So you go in with a setting spray or a fixing spray, because this is sealed makeup fixing spray by Zikel. So I like doing my blending on a sponge. So I spray it to make it down. Then I use that to blend my foundation. This is the only time I get to pamper my face, so if you don't feel it's enough, you can I know a lot of people use blending brushes to blend out their makeup products, but for me, I end up with a very horrible makeup at the end. I don't know why, so I just stick with a sponge. Now I'm going in with a concealer. I'm using the concealer palette by Beyond Beauty. I'll be using the last these 2 colors right here. Yep. So I go on to apply the darker shade here. And when you're applying your concealer, you want to try your best not to put the concealer all the way up, close to your eyes, okay? And I mentioned that my forehead dries out a lot, so I try to minimize the amount of product I put up there. So I go in with a lighter shade. I also use the beauty blender to blend out my concealer. So it's still damp, so I don't need to add the setting spray to it. And you also want to avoid your beauty blender being too damp. At that point, it also gets to ruin the concealer. So I start to blend from areas that dry out pretty fast. Then I go outwards and inward. Now when you're blending your eyes, if you have crease lines and folds underneath your eyes, you don't want to raise your eye up and then blend, because by the time you look down, there's a lot of product stuck in between those creases, and it gets to leave those lines that are visible at the end of your makeup. So you don't want to stack in products in the end, just blend looking straight ahead, okay? Once you're done blending, you go in with your contour or your bronzer. For me, I'll be using a contour shade on the palette. So I go in with a blending brush, but I also spray the setting spray on it very sparingly. So going with my liquid blush, I have typically used blush from a different palette, but I want to try out this lip cheek palette from V Beauty because I see some nice colors. So if it turns out bad, oops. You want to use little at a time and build up, then putting a whole lot and then ending up with we know. I'm going in with my powder. I'm using this translucent loose powder by Zekel. It's in the shade of honey. Now when applying your powder, you have no business baking, okay? So what I would do is I take a little bit, then I apply it at the back of my hand to reduce the amount of product I picked up. So I brush it off. Then I go in and grace the product slightly. You don't swipe your face, okay? I just go lightly. Once you feel like you're out of it, you can take from the back of your hand. So I'm going to do that one more time. So I do this around the areas that I want to apply my powder on. Now I can blend. So I'll try to finish off my under eye makeup off camera and I'll be right back. So I go on with a bronzer from Annie's Brown and I'm using the coffee shade. I'll also be using the same brush I used to apply my contour. So I go on with my Ezekiel bronzer palette. I'm using color 7. Color 7 for my blush. From the same palette, I'll be using the highlighter in shade 15. I finish up with my fixing spray. You have to cover your eyes so it doesn't get in there. Be generous about it, okay? Don't use it sparingly. Now, this is the final look and it came out really great. I love it. If you want to learn more makeup tips and beginner-friendly makeup, please subscribe to my channel. See you in my next video. Bye!